Watch this video, then we'll talk.
Barack Obama is the first black president of the United States of America, and Donald Trump is the first nigga to ever grace the White House. You see, by next weekend, there's going to be blood and teeth all over the White House lawn because the nigga in charge has decided to build a steel cage so the UFC can come and brawl on the front lawn just like hillbillies. But see, black folks would have never done that because we were raised not to fuck up the lawn. See, we played in the backyard and on the concrete in the driveway because we were raised by human beings and not savages. And what's even more interesting is these characteristics that white people have tried to say that black people embody for so long. The nigga that they voted for in charge embodies everyone. He's a thief, he's a rapist, he's a criminal, he's a baby daddy multiple times over. And this was the same group of people that said that they were against crime. They were against crime, but it appears to me that they're only against their daughters bringing home black men and their sons coming out of the closet.
First of all, poetry. Absolute cinema. They say Shakespeare's dead. If you'd like to see more of her poetics, link to her socials will be below. Next, I would like to pose this to the community. Have we ever considered that this and a lot of the other nonsense that's coming out? I'm also in the process of falling asleep, but I wanted to say this before I forgot these words. There is a ramping up of the normalization and the expectation and the congratulations, the celebration of violence in the United States. And it is a ramping up because it's moving towards something. You see all of these murderers, the guy that killed Renee, I think her name is Renee Good. I made a video about her. I'll include it right up there. The person that killed Trayvon Martin, all of these murderers become millionaires because of their GoFundMes and because of all of the white supremacists and, I don't want to call them murder apologists, but like violence enthusiasts that go, ooh, yes, violence against people groups. Here's my money. And not to say that all UFC fighters are also like under that umbrella, but like violence is literally the name of the game. It's your job. And so as all of these medical institutions, these literary institutions, libraries in the White House and across the lands, as educational establishments are getting shut down and defunded and getting red taped into non-existence, the fact that violence, fisticuffs, are what is getting a White House lawn remodel. I recognize that there's a lot of conversations about Donald potentially breathing his last breath. Coming soon. Listen, who knows? Not me. Will that be a beautiful day? Yes. And would that not be the end of all of our issues? Also, yes, that will be the beginning of a brand new set of issues because JD Couchhumper allegedly is waiting in the rafters. I'm sorry, more like waiting in the seat cushions. So I recognize that, DJ, there's a video of him pooping himself. I'll include that right up there too, right? He's in a quick decline. So a lot of people could point to this action as like, oh yeah, clearly he's in mental decline. Obviously, Shayna, we shouldn't be thinking too much about this. No, I think we should be thinking a lot about this because it's not just him that has to sign off on this. And he is, dare I say, he's just a very effective puppet and has been for a very long time. But he's not actually the one in power here. He's not actually the oligarch that is pulling all of the part of the oligarchs that are pulling all of these strings, right? So the question then becomes, what is this very loud action saying? What is this bell that is ringing trying to warn us about? Men's violence towards women has gotten more and more public as time goes on. In the past couple of months, I can't even count the amount of Black women that I've seen killed by their husbands, boyfriends, partners. I also cannot even fully remember the amount of international online forums that have been uncovered where men are drugging and raping their wives and girlfriends and then inviting other people to come and gang rape them. There's been multiple instances internationally of this in the past couple of months. I think about the Chow family that murdered the little Black boy, I think last year, but the trial just went viral. I think about the two girls, I think in the UK, that recently found out that the three boys that videotaped them physically and sexually assaulting them are all going off scot-free because the judge was like, well, we don't want to be too hard on these boys. And like, I think about this, I think about the rewards for violence against marginalized groups that are just becoming more and more commonplace. And it just, like, I look at this UFC stadium being built on the front lawn of the White House, one of the most powerful, not in a way where it's like, ooh, yay, like it came to power by like horrific genocidal means, but one of the most powerful establishments in the world. It all makes sense to me. Your boys, the men in your life, are being conditioned towards violence, are being urged into more violent tendencies and aspirations. This administration has been like talking about, there's a war going on, using all of this like end times, hyper violent war rhetoric, talking about there's a war against the left, there's a war. Meanwhile, our military and police departments train in Israel with the IDF and use Native people and children and disabled folks as target practice to then come back to the United States and continue what they were doing, continue the practice that they had on these marginalized people. This UFC cage, this cage on the lawn of the White House, it is a reprioritization of what the American ideals are. It's no longer academic excellence. It's no longer thinking forward. It's no longer the melting pot. It's no longer leadership. It's no longer community. It's no longer, mind you, all of these things, asterisks, all the way through. It is violence. It is fisticuffs. It is blood. It is this idea of a warrior. This idea of a man that's gonna, and I understand there are like women that are in the UFC. I doubt that they're going to be MAGA allowing women to fight on the lawn of the White House. We all know that's not gonna happen. I think that there should be some intense conversations happening in many households. You could use this video, you could use that thing that we just saw as a prompt for it. Or you could just start conversations about the ways, especially if you have little boys or just men in general living in your house, around you, all of that. Conversations about the normalization of violence. The normalization of violence and how violence gets congratulated in their circles. I think these kinds of conversations should be happening right about now. It should have been happening for a long time, but in case you were like, oh, I think we have time. No, you don't. They're going to be recruiting younger and younger, like literally recruiting into the army and the military, all of that. So you might want to start. Stay safe out there.